Greetings, everyone. How y'all doing today? Oh, let me see. Okay, great. I feel like that's fine enough. Welcome to our Nodal Masterclass. How's everybody feeling? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Today is the day that Venus rules, and Venus just moved into Aries, y'all. Oh, this is so incredible because Venus has been retrograde. Venus retrograded several months ago. The retrograde started, and it started when Venus was in Aries, and then it went retrograde in Aries. And so now Venus is completing the final leg of its retrograde. Now here's what Venus retrograde is. Let's talk about what Venus retrograde is. Venus retrograde, every retrograde is an opportunity for us to review, for us to really come into a reflective space with which planet is. So because it's Venus governs money, it governs relationship, it governs your aesthetic, your beauty, your style. Venus is also Venus is joy and sensuality and all these wonderful things that we like. And it takes some maturity and responsibility to create balance in your life so that you don't become tarnished with pleasure, so that you don't become pleasure seeking, dominated by, there has to be balance. There has to be the pleasure aspect, and then there has to be, there's a pleasure aspect, but there's the discipline that that actually allows the pleasure aspect to occur. And oftentimes, because in this dark age experience that we're coming out of, we have endured so much trauma. We have endured so much trauma that when something feels good, we want to just surrender or give over to it, right? It's almost like you've been starving and then you get food and you just want to shove it down your face, but that's not how it works. If you're starving, when you get food, you should slowly assimilate yourself back into the experience of eating. And the same with anything, right? Like if you're celibate, when you come out of celibacy, you should slowly move yourself back into the experience of having sexual intercourse. When you fast from food, and you go a few days without eating, you should slowly move yourself back into the experience of breaking the fast. So this is the tricky part about Venus, is that Venus requires balance. It requires an experience of assimilation from the internal to the external. Oftentimes, Venus is what we see. It's what appears, right? And so we live in a culture sometimes where people will, this is my favorite one. People always say, black don't crack. Black don't crack. Ooh, black don't crack. Black don't crack. Yeah, not on the outside, but it cracks like a fucking bag of rice on the inside. It's understanding that Venus is the external, and what we see is not full. What we see doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it is. And that has been a huge lesson for me. I'm a grown woman now, and it has taken me years to get to the point to understand that just because I see something, that doesn't mean it's really true. People can present, and this is not about people being deceptive or any of that kind of stuff. It's really about the responsibility of the person who is perceiving the reality, right? Things can look one way, but they are something entirely different. And that's the thing that I have experienced in this country as a Black person. My experience has been that there are these laws and all, this constitution that is supposed to be designed to protect the rights of all people, including Black people. And yet it says it's promoted, but it doesn't really show forth, right? So it says one thing, but it's doing something else. This is the wisdom of Venus to understand that things can look a certain way, but that doesn't mean that the way it looks is really what's happening. And are you mature enough? Are you present and patient and attentive and intentional enough to have the true experience of abundance, of beauty, that's not based in false illusions of materialism and capitalism and all of that? And so with that, I just want to say today is Venus Day. And if you would like to, if this work benefits you, if you get something from it, I would love for you to donate or say thank you, just because Venus is about reciprocity. So you can do that at my Cash App, which is $Monique Ruffin, or you can do it at my Venmo, which is @Monique-Ruffin. Venmo is @Monique-Ruffin. Okay, so thank you in advance for anyone who donates. I really appreciate it. It really does support me to do what I do, and I love this. So back to Venus. So Venus is this energy that governs the 3D reality, and it's about, they connect hedonism and, pleasure seeking and all of that to Venus. And what I'm saying is that it requires a level of responsibility and balance and clarity. I'll just use somebody like Whitney Houston, for example. So Whitney Houston was a Leo. And she had a moon in Aries, I believe, and her sun, either her sun or her moon was at the same degree of Venus. And Venus is the voice. Venus is, oh my God. And when Whitney Houston opened her mouth, when I looked at her chart, I was like, of course this woman has Venus all over her chart. She can sing. Venus is sound and music and art and food and all of that kind of stuff. And yet, even though she had this incredible gift, behind the scenes, what was really going on in her life was addiction, anger, fear, trauma, her father trying to sue her for $100,000, like all of this stuff behind the beauty, behind the thing. There was this, it wasn't balanced. There was no balance. And so her life couldn't really function in the mechanics towards longevity because she was misusing that Venus energy. Venus is so significant, and I swear people just think that it's relationship and love and beauty and things, and that is not it. The force behind Venus is the divine feminine in ways that we don't even acknowledge in our culture. Venus she's sensuality, she's passion, she's pleasure, but she is balance. She is balance. She says that things, she says in this 3D reality, what you put out there must be reciprocity. There must be equanimity. There must be, there must be balance is all I can really say. And just going back to the Whitney Houston experience, had Whitney Houston, and I dare I say this because this is all story and conjure and it's nothing, because she had, hold on one second. Hold on one second, you guys. So I'm just using an example of how I see this. So as an astrologer who understands charts and things like that, had Whitney Houston had discipline in her life, just the discipline to manage that energy of Venus, right? the way she opened her mouth and sang was also the energy and the power that was running through her body, probably all of the time. And when you don't understand the energy of Venus and the senses, it's literally your nasal passages, your kidneys, your skin. If you like, literally, you're running electricity through this Venetian system. And when it isn't disciplined and tightened up, and and because Whitney Houston had such an effortless gift, like, this is not a woman that had to practice to do what she did. It just came to her so naturally. And when things come to you naturally, you have to offset it with something that is rigorous, that is challenging. And if you don't, this natural thing will become something that runs you, something that controls you. You have to constantly be, it's like a horse. Like, you have a horse that's beautiful and the fastest runner, but if you don't discipline that horse, if you don't hold those reins back, you have to manage the Venus energy. You have to manage the gift, the beauty, it has to be managed with something that is strong from the inner realms. And am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense, because I feel like people totally get Venus wrong, and in getting it so wrong, we suffer. It's like when you meet somebody and initially there's an incredible attraction. Like, you meet a new person and it's like, and you're thinking about them all the time, and you are anticipating, wanting to talk to them all the time. And what I learned, because when I was young, I would do this. I would meet somebody and that Venus magnet would, and all I could do was think about them. I couldn't wait to have sex with them. And once I started to realize, once I got grown enough to see the pattern, I started going, okay, when I meet somebody, when I feel all of that energy, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down so that I don't get caught up in a tornado of emotions, because Venus is our emotions. It's how we feel. So I don't get caught up in a tornado of seductive emotions. But it took me, I got to be 40 something before I could do this. And then when I would engage with someone sexually, the first time we engaged sexually, I would make a rule. We cannot talk on the phone for 3 days. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you, so that I could gather all my energy back and come back into myself, come back into my own sensory system, not being taken over by oxytocin, by feelings and emotions that are really just like when you pour a beer really fast and you get a lot of fuzz. And that's it. It's nothing. The emotions, the feelings are just that. They're just emotions and feelings. They don't mean anything. They don't mean longevity. They don't mean nothing, except I'm having a whole lot of feelings and emotions in my body, and I need to learn how to manage it. And that is Venus. That is Venus. So today, Venus is currently conjunct Neptune, you guys. Oh, what a beautiful... Venus is conjunct Neptune for the third time in Aries. Neptune had been in Pisces at the final degrees of Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces was a lot of sort of spiritual confusion and like ending the age of Pisces. And Venus and Neptune together are about compassion, self-compassion. This is an opportunity for us to come into an experience of the depths of forgiveness for all the ways that we have mismanaged our energy, for all the ways that we have thought that something was one thing, but it was really something else, for all the ways that we made choices that then broke our hearts, did harm to us, for all the ways that we, like I said, we feel like something was one thing. But how many times so many times I have been in a relationship where initially it started as one thing, and because I was ignorant and I didn't know how to really manage relationships and manage my energy, then it will become corrupted. The relationship will become corrupted by both mine or their tendencies. And it was truly because of not understanding the scales of balance, not understanding Ma'at, which is Venus, which is the scales, like that there has to be balance. Both people cannot be in their feminine. Both people can't be in their masculine. There has to be an equal and opposite that keeps the scales balanced. And so Venus is that energy. And so Venus in Aries is saying you have an opportunity now with conjunct Neptune to forgive yourself. Really forgive yourself. Let yourself off the hook for the things you didn't know. Why? Because we're in a new cycle and it's time to move forward, you guys. Like literally, it's all the talk. Like we don't have a lot of time. Like we don't understand that, or maybe we do. There's something really real that is shifting on this planet. It's happening. It's happening around us. It's happening to us. It's happening through us. And there are many of us that are still caught up in the old narratives and stories of racism and sexism and broken hearts. And that shit has to be released. It cannot come with you. But it will weigh you down. It will keep you from going forward. It will keep you from evolving. And this is the energy of Venus and Aries. Self-love and forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiving yourself for the things that you did not know when you didn't know. If you didn't know, you didn't know. I forgive myself. I didn't know. And feel it, right? So it's so interesting. I was thinking yesterday about, I used to work for a church, and it wasn't a Christian church. It was like a religious science church. And I was the assistant to one of the head ministers. And this minister, this man, I won't name him because I don't want to, but he was the most colorful black man. He literally used to wear like purple suits and green suits and pink suits and hats and, long shoes, alligator shoes, like a pimp, right? He's like a pimp, brother with locks. And when I tell you this, I was his assistant. And so I had a special place because I was actually his assistant, and I was married to his godson. And this, as his assistant, like a big minister, I literally watched so many women fall under this man's spell. If there's one thing that I have seen in my life, I have had the privilege, and I think it's a privilege, to watch powerful men and how they relate to women and how women relate to them. And this man had so many women. Like, he also had a wife. And it was so interesting to witness. Like, he was a peacock. He was literally just like all the time, hats and I would watch him and I loved him. Like, I loved him. Like, I loved him because I grew up with a father who was a pimp, right? So I didn't have I was aware of the quote unquote morality around it. I was aware of that, but I loved him because he was amazing. He was an amazing human being. And I wasn't in any sort of romantic thing with him because that wasn't the nature of our relationship. So I got to really see him as a human being. And I think that one of the things that I'm just so aware of, which is a Venus thing, is how we have criminalized the biology of men. Most men, not all men, but most men. The biology of men is that they are sexual and it's biological on a 24-hour cycle. So most men are not naturally monogamous. Most women are not naturally monogamous. But we live in this culture that has forced us to agree to these illusions of relationships based in white supremacy, capitalism, and the attempt to create these family units that are so tight that they are just extracting all of your energy. We're no longer communal, where we handle things community wise, right? And what community would look like in these sexual is that the sex would be a community experience. I'm not saying having sex all together at the same time. I mean, people can do whatever they want to do, but it's not like one person doesn't own another person. You are sexually sovereign because biologically, you're sexually sovereign because biologically, that is our nature. That is our nature. To be multiple sex, that's who we are. It's natural. So I've been close to many men who have had a lot of power, and I get to watch them be in their natural biological way of being, even though there is this morality thing, because the culture doesn't really make space for it. But when men have a lot of power, money, resource, they can have access to a lot of women. And I saw it with my father. I've seen it with friends of mine who are football players or basketball players, or, men who make over $500,000 a year. Like, I've seen it. And all I know is that it's going to be very important for us to understand the biological function of our own sexual nature, men and women, because I personally am not monogamous either. I'm not like a man sexually. That's not how I am. But I also am not a one woman, one man person, right? Like, that's just not how I am. Like, I just, and it shows up how it shows up. It's very sporadic, but I know now that I'm an adult and I know myself, I know my system, I will likely not ever tell someone that it is just me and them. Just because I know that I need, and it's not even about sex. I need somebody else to talk to, because my brain is so fast, and the levels that I process information, for the majority, I'm gonna outthink you. I'm gonna bore. So I'm gonna need somebody else to talk to. I'm gonna need somebody else to engage with. I'm going to need another space to play. I need another playground. I can't just have one, right? I don't necessarily have to be having a sexual experience with everyone but I do need to know that you're not trying to control my energy. I am in control of my energy because I know what I need to flourish. I know what I need to stay buoyant. I know I need another perspective. I need, you know what I'm saying? Like, so because I understand myself, I will not lock myself into experiences that will begin to drain my energy, that will begin to make me heavy-hearted, that will begin to make me question myself. How's he going to feel if I do this? And what is he going to do if I do this? And what, I was in an open relating community for many years, and it was really an awesome experience for me. It was not easy, but I got to learn how to be really honest. And there were times, like one time I had an event at my house, and I had two partners here, like two people that I was in sexual relationships with. And it was a very interesting thing, because before I literally was like, can you just open up your mouth and say, so I said we're all in open relationships, so it's not uncommon, but I let one person know, okay, this person is going to be, they're in town, they're going to be staying here. I want you to come to this event. It's incredible. I don't want you to miss it. And when the event is over, I'm going to need you to go. I hope it's okay that you can go and they can stay and that you can do that. And I was shaking. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I felt like okay, this is interesting. But I just was like, be an adult and speak up and be honest and be transparent. Use your tools, and I did. And and I've been in spaces with other women who are in relationship with men that I'm with, and like really being able to be transparent and really being able to be transparent and be honest. And women, we ain't nothing to mess around with, okay? Especially when somebody, women, we can be very obsessed over the D. Very, like I like to call it, we can be very digmatized. Oh my God, the level of digmatization, the level of like, whoo, is profound. And so I work with women. I'm in spaces with women. And so I have to learn how to navigate that thing that we do. And so, I just have learned how to set boundaries, so there was I was seeing this man and another woman that I was actually in a friendship with, and we're still cool, was seeing him also, but he was an open relator, and she wanted him to stop open relating. She wanted him to herself. And I was like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why you want him to yourself. Yes, I understand. And he's staying at my house right now. So when I'm finished, when this experience that we're having is complete and the agreement that I have with him is complete, you can have him to yourself. But in the meantime, this is what I'm doing over here. And so this is all Venus stuff. Being able to communicate, being able to know your relationship style, being able to be courageous enough. Venus and Aries, are you courageous enough to be standing up for what you're passionate about, to stand for yourself? Like the relationship structures that we have from white supremacy and capitalism. And I mean, I don't want to talk down on whiteness. It's not about white people. It's whiteness, right? And I also know that everything has served its purpose. So I'm saying this in jest a bit. But, what whiteness has created is so fucking boring and ridiculous. Like, there's nothing interesting about it at all. It literally is like, why would you want to eat the same thing every night? Why would you? It doesn't make sense to eat the same thing every day when this world has so much variety, so many levels, so much to experience. And I'm going to lock myself down to one person when I was in my 20s, now that I'm in my 50s, I didn't even know how to have sex until yesterday. Like I'm still learning my body. I'm still learning how to be a woman. Why would I lock myself in to an experience at 20 something? And here I am now 50 something, a whole new person. And for those who do that, I think that there are some people that is for. It's not for me. Okay. I think there are people that it is for. It is not for me. And I'm clear about that. So, with Venus in Aries, you all, it is time for us to really get clear about our own individual relationship style, your own sensual sexual preferences, what you like, what you need, and then understand the motivation behind it, right? That's the thing that I'm trying to say. Venus is not just about the appearance of things. If you can't back up, like I said, they say black don't crack. It doesn't crack on the outside, but it is fucked up on the inside, right? You got to handle the Venus stuff. You can't just look pretty. You have to actually be healthy, stable, harmonious on the inside so that your external world actually is what you say it is. You must walk your talk. And this is Venus. Most of us just got this Venus shit like, we're just on the external, what it looked like, no, it's not just that. It's really, what does it feel like? Does it feel true? Does it feel, one of the things that I have really loved having access to men who have access to a lot of women is just watching women, including myself, fall for anything. Like, oh, he said such and such and such. That shit ain't hardly true. But I want to believe it. So he can say it because I want to believe it. I want it to be true. So I have watched women, especially the minister that I was working for, these white women, because he's a brother, these white women would just lay themselves out. I'm like, the things that I have seen white women do for a brother who got a wife and a family at home that he ain't leaving. I mean, just laying it out, just like, whoo. And when you have that much access, how can you be anything else unless you really have this superior level of discipline? You know, so as women, we have to really begin to take responsibility for what we agree to, what we like, with that understanding that as women, we are creating the reality. We are the one that says, yes, I am the one with the pussy. So if I'm the one with the pussy, I have the yes and the no. It's mine to offer. I give it. And so it's like, what are the terms on which I'm willing to give it? What are the terms? I am the one deciding. I am the one. So I literally actually have the power. I am the receiver. So if I am the receiver, I am the one with the power. But we have been living in a world that says that the men are the ones with the power. But if you pay attention to their behavior and their programming to hunt, to be the hunter is not the one with the power. The hunter is the one who needs, the one in need. So as women, we are the ones with the power. How are you managing your resource? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? Are you responsible for your own pleasure, your own desires, your own passion? Or are you, like, as many, but what I've seen, like, as many, for me as a woman, until I really learned how to own my own body and what was pleasurable to me for real and what I really loved and wanted, I wasn't in control because I was just doing what somebody else really wanted me to do until I understood, like, no, that doesn't work for me. Here's what feels good. Until I got that, I was not even I wasn't managing the resource that is mine. I am responsible for this. This is mine. This is mine while I am on this earth plane. This is my reality. This is mine. So I say what comes in and what goes out. I say what comes in and what goes out. And we've been tricked to think that when I was a young girl growing up, in the 80s and 90s, when you would go to the grocery store, you have all the magazines, Cosmopolitan, Vogue, all this stuff. Every magazine, how to keep a man. What does your man need to be pleased? How do you keep your... Every magazine geared towards the man. And I would be like, what the fuck is that? Like, how to keep myself pleased. This is about... Because it takes nothing to please him. It takes a vagina. It takes the thought of, I'm going to get some. That's all that it takes to please him. It takes a whole lot to please me. I am the one who needs to be pleased. Because in order to please me, you got to move my pinky over this way. You got to do it this way. You got to do that. You got to blah, 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 da, 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 da. It don't take nothing to please you. So it's so important for us to understand where the power really lies and take responsibility for it. Become responsible for your own pleasure, your own appearance, your own harmonized system. Like, you're literally harmonizing your own system. And many women, as we get older and we've been through heartbreak and all these sort of things, many women will stop having sex. They just don't even, because they have so much disappointment, and, the church has us thinking that we missed out and Jesus didn't love us. And so because Jesus didn't love us, we don't get to be chosen and we got to be single. And so then you just begin to expire. You just give up the life force and begin to expire. And that is the joke. That's the illusion. That is the illusion. The celibacy, don't get me wrong. Celibacy is good for when you are cleaning your body. Yes, you should do that. The celibacy and all of that sort of stuff is great. But it is not according to a religion that says if you have this many bodies, you are a whore. And what people don't really understand, the things that I have studied, is the more bodies you have, see if you can get out of your ego about it. Sex is about information exchange. That's it. We make it about all this other stuff. It feels good. And the reason it feels good is because the universe wants us to come together to exchange information. Because that information is then the code that begins to build the new reality as human beings. That's all sex is. It's about an exchange of information. So as a woman and as a man, the more information you exchange, the more data codes, the more diversity you have, the stronger you are, the stronger your system is. That's the thing people don't understand. The women who are like holding, and everybody is different, right? So I'm not saying everyone is this way, but generally, as women, we are like bees. Like if you look at a colony of bees, all the bees are women. And what do those bees do? They go from one flower to the next, gathering information, to then pollinate and create honey. That's what women are supposed to. That's how we're made. I don't want to say we're supposed to be that way because I don't want to make anybody be at odds with themselves. But we are not here to be the virgin. We are here to be, and if the virgin in that Western context, we're here to be the virgin in the cosmic context, meaning I own myself. This is my body. I decide how it is used. Right? So that is the true power of the feminine. And the bees, and the more information and data we gather, the more energy, the more information we send back to the cosmic mother. They've so hijacked all of this information so that we are just scrambling and fighting over this man and then he cheating and that's all ridiculous shit. We are here to commingle. And emotionally, spiritually, physical, in the ways that feel right for the individual, right? It's for that ways that feel right for the individual. Because what you do is you collect information and you make your system stronger. You make your system stronger. That's why I love that my mother was a sex worker. I love that she was a sex worker. I didn't appreciate it then. I actually was like my mother, my mother would, when she walked, she was a very tall woman. She was 5'9". And when I was little, I was 3 or 4, my eyes would be at the level of her hips. And when she walked, she would just sway, like her hips were just, she was just, and I used to be ashamed. I would be like, I would watch the men watch her butt. I was so lit. I was watching the men watch her butt. And it made me afraid because I saw that her body got so much attention. And this is how we're supposed to get it. We're supposed to get attention. We're supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be that way. It's natural and normal. So, all right, you guys, I want to read all the comments because there's so many comments. And where do you guys have Venus in your charts? Do you know where Venus is in your own chart? Gosh, I'm going to miss, because once I save it, the comments go away. Oh, so I try to read them. And you guys have so many. Okay. All right. yes, we did meet in the Blue Butterflies group, Divine One Love. We were in there. Okay. Okay, well, there's no questions. Moon Mama, come back on camera. Painted face or anything. Thank you. I'm working on it, girl. I'm telling you, this like being somebody who presents is an interesting thing for me. I'll say it that way. It's Friday, y'all. Please make sure we collectively hit our Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. Yay! Thank you. I appreciate that, Organized Chaos. That's you. You're not having sex. I spent about a year or so celibate. Maybe almost 2 years celibate. It was incredible. It was a really incredible experience because I really got to reorganize my system, and I got to heal like a lot of patterns and stuff that were childhood stuff that I hadn't really gotten clear about. And I feel so much better now. I really do. I feel free to be who I really am. Coming or in ways that feel right for you, make your system stronger. Yes, I'm exploring intimacy again since my husband transitioned. So I have been doing dickless dating, and it has elevated the moment. Yes, there is nothing like being around men. Like, I love men, and I love them. You know, it's not about, like, men can be, not all of them, they can be so sexually motivated. And sometimes I want to be around them just because I want to be around them. I don't want sex. Like, I don't want sex to be the reason. But their brains can be, it's biological, right? So it's almost like being in a kitchen that has a pots filled with food that are delicious, and you're there and you smell it, and so you want to eat. I feel like men are like that biologically with sex. It's just their natural way. Like, if I'm in the kitchen where it's macaroni and cheese cooking and all sorts of stuff that I really want to eat, I'm going to want to eat. I'm going to be like, and I might not even be hungry, right? But I literally would be like, ooh, Venus and Sag. Venus and Sag. Yeah, you open, right? You are open relator. If you got Venus and Sag, you are not a, Venus and Sag people need to be free. Okay? Y'all need to be free. She said, I'm not sure where my Venus is. Oh, you should go find out. Venus in the 12th house in Aquarius. Ooh. Venus in the 12th house means that your desires are often subconscious, right? So that means you have like a very, you have a highly sensory body, like you're very sensitive to touch. But you might not be really clear about why you feel what you feel, because Aquarius can detach. So if things don't feel good for you, you might not really run it through, because you might be somebody who, like, I don't know your chart, but like sensations can get so strong that you kind of like bounce out of them because they are really intense for you. Because at 12, like, you're not knowing what's going on, like a lot of emotions running through. And then Aquarius in the 12th house. Aquarius in the 12th house is kind of challenging because Aquarius is about friends and things like that. So when you have Aquarius in the 12th house, you might have psychic connections with your friends. And, you know, if I have Aquarius in the 12th house, just don't think about your friends. Don't spend time thinking about them too much, because you're creating a reality. Like, unless you're only thinking good things, if you're not thinking good things, don't think about it, because you're creating it. The 12th house is, and then with Venus there, it's really powerful. Same, my year is here, but I want to get hit. What do you mean you want to get hit? Venus and Scorpio. Ooh, Venus and Scorpio, y'all. Lord. Venus and Scorpio is the one sign that I'm like, nah. Venus and Scorpio loves forever. Okay? Like, Venus and Scorpio is like, when Venus and Scorpio, if they love you for real, forever. They might even be with somebody else, but if they loved you, they still love you. They still love you. They love hard. And because it's Scorpio, it's family patterns. So if you have Venus and Scorpio, look at the people in your life, like your mother and father, and look at what their love patterns have been, because you're playing it out in your own life. And if you want to get free from it, you can get free from it. Absolutely. It's just You got to go into a lot of deep feeling stuff and really learn how to use your power, really learn how to wield your emotions towards what you really desire. Because when you have Venus in Scorpio, you have a lot of fucking deep ass feelings. Okay? You feel everything and you see everything and you're a detective and nothing can get past you. But you have to learn to use that energy for something that actually benefits you and not about people and not in heartbreak and shadow and all that sort of stuff. It's a very intense energy. What about Venus and Cap? Oh, Venus and Cap is just old school. Venus and Cap likes money. Like, we want to have enough money in the bank all the time. You're going to work for it. It's literally about achievement. It's literally about want. And it depends on where it is in your chart. But Venus and Cap is, it's like, I'm going to get me a partner and we're going to work these things out together. And if you don't, because I have somebody that in my family is close to, they have a Venus and Cap, but they're an Aquarius. And Aquarius is about freedom. So I watch them suffer a little bit because Aquarius is about freedom, but Venus and Cap is about conventional, steady love. And so they don't have the thing that they want, but they have a job that they really can. So you need something that, with Venus and Cap, you need something structural, that's consistent, that you can run your energy all the time. She said, ouch, my parents been together for 53 years. Wow. What about that is an ouch? He said, wow, that's my grandfather. He was a Capricorn and he was the boss. All about his money and his wife. Yes, that Venus in Capricorn is structured and loyal and it's looking for steadiness. I've been abstinent for 3 years and my Venus is in Libra. My Venus is in Libra too. My sun is in Scorpio and I refuse to date online. What would be a good tactic to meet someone? So if I were you, I would do ritual around that. And I would because it's not about meeting someone as much as it is about the energy that you're emitting. Like, you've got to emit, it's like I meet men everywhere I go. Like, it doesn't matter how old I am. I just meet men. I always have a man around that's, and it's because I have an energy that is open and receptive, and I smile, and I'm doing that because that's who I am. I'm not doing that to attract men. I'm doing that because I'm being myself. So the thing about Venus is that you want to get yourself light. You know what I mean? You want to get yourself open in your own body and open in your own heart. And then when you do that, when you literally become a space of love, when you fall in love with yourself, wherever you go, you're going to meet somebody. Like, literally. It's literally your opportunity to fall in love with yourself. And as you fall in love with yourself and you dress a certain way, you dress in the things that you love, and you eat the things you love, and you listen to the music you love. Like, you fill yourself up with loviness, and you will meet somebody. But I live in Los Angeles. They have jazz concerts here, free jazz concerts. I love museums and bookstores. Farmers markets. I love farmers markets. One of my friends works at the farmers market, and she's been telling me there's this man who's really interested in you. And let me say this. My life is dedicated to my work. It's dedicated to my work. I'm not here for a relationship. I don't care about that kind of stuff. And so when I meet men who seem like they are wanting to become a thing, I'm not interested. Generally, I'm not. That's why I date men who are open, because they usually have another partner. And if you have another partner, then you're not going to be trying to partner me in a way that is this long-term thing. If you have another partner. So I like that. Like, oh, he has another partner. Like, back in the day, I would be like the other woman, like the man who has a wife, because you got to go home. I want you to go home. See ya. So, there's this man, my girlfriend is like, oh, this man really, and I can, like, he's a single man. So that means that, you know, he's looking for somebody to be, nah, not interested. So you have to really just understand, who you are and what you want. Okay. He loved my grandmother. He's been having money. He moved my grandma from Louisiana, married her, and they never departed. That's so interesting how you broke that down, because I love how I'm saying that. But what's his name? Let's call his name. Write his name here. Your grandmother and your grandfather. Say their names so we can speak the ancestors, because we need that kind of power in our community. But was kind of uncertain, because I definitely been gunning for the old school type of love, maybe unconsciously. And I'm 26. You're 26? Girl, you are so young. Let me tell you, if you are 26, unless you are like a super old soul, give yourself 10 years, okay? 10 years. 10 years. Go focus on you and your magic and your gifts and your abilities. Do not be a 26-year-old woman unless it's really in the cards for you. That's in a long-term relationship right now. Just stop it. Just stop it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if you have Venus in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn can also mean later in life, because Capricorn is the elder. So Venus in Capricorn can mean later in life. I am against, and I'm not really against it, because if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. Young women in long-term relationships. I'm against it. I'm against it. I really am against it. Especially young women in relationships with older men. I'm against it, because older men see the possibility in you that you don't see in yourself yet. Because they've lived long and they've been with a number of women, they can see the thing in you that you don't see in yourself. And if you don't see it in yourself, you can't cultivate it in yourself. So that means that they are going to be benefiting from the thing that you don't even know you have. That's some bullshit, okay? Percy. Yes. Percy, but his name was Philip. Thank you. Thank you, Percy. Thank you. And your grandma's still here with us, but call her name anyway. She can still be here with us. We can call her name. I'm a young man. I just got, okay, all right. You're a young man. I just got hair. Okay, great. If you're a young man you still need to wait. You need to wait. Because you need to build yourself. You need to become solid in yourself. You need to really feel like you have something to offer. You need to know yourself. You need to know, like literally get devoted to becoming who you're meant to be. Don't think about relationships. So relationships are easy, y'all. Relationships come easy. I always go, it's so easy to find a dick. It's so easy, but it's hard to find one that I actually want to spend time with. And in order to find one that you want to spend time with, you have to become the person that you will attract that. You have to become the person that will attract that. I'm looking for a long term, but I suppose throughout my life here on earth, I haven't had many relations. Take your time. Take your time if you're young. If you're young, take your time. All right. Clarice and Percy Simmons. Yes. Thank you, Clarice and Percy Simmons. What a beautiful legacy you guys have created. Thank you. All right, y'all. This has been so sweet. I love you all so much. So thank you for being here to have this conversation about Venus and how to honor Venus. So before I get going, the moon is in Cancer, which is about your home, your environment, your family, your inner world, how you feel. And Venus in Aries is saying that put your attention on yourself. Put your attention on yourself. How are you feeling about yourself? Be devoted to yourself. Take care of yourself. Nourish yourself. Nurture yourself. And get clear about your individuality. Be clear about your individuality. Don't blend in. Don't allow Don't allow yourself to lose the things that make you unique, the things that are eclectic about you. Cultivate those things, right? Like cultivate that stuff and then have the courage to be it. Have the courage to not collapse into the conventional ways of being that don't serve you. Like be yourself. You know, it's taken me a long time, but I'm really clear that I am not a monogamous woman. I don't have any interest in it. I do love the company of men. I don't want to be sexual with all the men that I'm in company with, but I love to talk to men. I think that they are very interesting. I love a good man in a nice suit and smell good and, you know, fun and all that kind of stuff. And I want to go home. I don't want my life to be about a man. I want my life to be my own. I want to be able to wake up and do what I want with my time and energy. And so because of that, I don't choose monogamy because I want to use my life for my work. And I feel like if I was in a relationship, I would be using my life for him. And that's just not valuable to me. That's just not for me. That's it. That's all. Okay, you all. Peace and blessings. Thank you for your donations. If you want to donate, you can do so at Venmo, which is @Monique-Ruffin. This is a long video. You can do it at my Cash App, which is $Monique Ruffin, or my PayPal, which is MoniqueCRuffin@gmail.com. And I really appreciate whatever you do, the thank yous, the donations. I'm just very grateful. And if you need support with what's going on in your own life, you can go to my website at healwithmoonmama.com and book your transit readings or your coaching packages or coaching, and I will support you in the ways that are specific to your natal chart, because everyone's medicine is different. We've been given all these generalized ways of being in the world that don't work, which is why people are continuing to suffer, because the things that the Western world prescribes as solutions are just capitalistic gains. That's it. So you need to understand what works for you. When I want to do something to heal myself, like I have been working to heal my relationship with the 3D reality. Meaning like, you know, this 3D reality is outdated. So something in me will still believe the things that I see. And so as I want to heal that, I literally take an herb to help me release the perspective. There are herbs for fucking everything, you got. Like this system that we are in is there's a solution for everything. There is a solution for it all. You just have to be open to getting it. And when you are, it comes. Okay, peace and blessings. I love y'all. Bye.